جزيرة مالطا دولة عريقة بالبحر المتوسط تتبع الاتحاد الأوروبي، وهي مدخل للقارة الأفريقية عبر المتوسط ومحاطة بالماء من كل جهة، وبتشترك ببعض الحدود البحرية مع دولتي إيطاليا وليبيا. هالجزيرة مثل ما دون بالكتاب المقدس زار القديس بولس بظروف جدا قاهرة. أما عن علاقة مالطا بلبنان فهي تاريخية من أيام الفينيقيين ولا زالت علاقة وطيدة، ومؤخرا ومن حوالي السنة تم تعيين السفير غير المقيم دكتور أندريه بورج اللي منتشرف طبعا بلقائه عبر مريم تي في. Your Excellency Dr. André, thank you for offering me this opportunity and welcome to Mariam TV.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
Excellency, less than a year ago, you have been appointed Malta's ambassador to Lebanon, presenting your credentials to President General Michel Aoun last July, welcoming you in Lebanon. May I ask what impetus do you bring with you to enhance the relations between the two countries?
Exactly. First of all, it is also my pleasure to represent Malta in Lebanon. Lebanon has been a country that I've been following for a long time.
It's our honor.
Developments in the Mediterranean, the history that we share, we go back many thousands of years since the Phoenicians. So there is a lot of similarity between countries, unique characteristics. So all in all, yes, I think it was a privilege to accept the appointment to be the ambassador of Lebanon. And the idea is, of course, to bring the communities closer together through various ways, diplomatic, social, political work. So this is, let's say, the impetus that I will be bringing forward in my new position.
You mentioned history, and it is a fact that Malta and Lebanon share Phoenician heritage. How strong is this historic bond? Is it still felt today?
Yes, as I said, actually, it goes back to the Phoenician period, where the Phoenicians came from today's Lebanon all the way through the Mediterranean, settled in Malta. We had the Phoenicians for 500 years on our island. So you can imagine 500 years,
wow.
10 to 12 generations of people, of Phoenicians.
Yes.
So it was really a very important civilization on the formation of our country.
Yes.
So the language that was brought over by the Phoenicians, actually we kept the language not just during these 500 years, but even when the Romans came, the Arabs were in Malta.
It became different language.
Exactly.
Yes.
But the local population still had the basis of the Phoenician language.
Oh, yes.
So even today in Malta, you find
until
some words
today you have some Phoenician words.
Exactly. So, I mean, some words which when I'm in Lebanon, they will tell me this is very old Phoenician, very old. So yes, this is one example of truth that the Maltese and the Lebanese population have in common. Language is one of them, but also the culture, the food, the way we host each other. This is all, I think, part of the common heritage that we have.
Could you please tell us a bit more about Malta and its people?
This is interesting because maybe few people know about Malta.
Yes.
Malta is an island. It's one of the smallest countries in the world, with about 500,000 population. We are in between Libya and Italy. So we are between, just south of Italy and north of Libya and Tunisia.
Yes.
Exactly, just near Sicily. It's a small island with 316 square kilometers. It has a rich history. So Malta is known mostly for the history in the Mediterranean. Many civilizations came over to Malta, being a small island, very easy to conquer, of course. But Malta nowadays is also part of the European Union, the Schengen area. So one would need a visa to enter Malta.
We need a Schengen visa to visit Malta.
Exactly. And forming part of the European Union, we are a member state. And therefore Malta has, let's say, nowadays is part of the European family as well, without forgetting that we are also Mediterranean and we have very close relations with the countries in the North Africa and the Middle East region.
Yes.
The people of Malta, I mean, they look very much like the Lebanese, to us. We look similar. We are like the Lebanese. We are also hardworking, resilient. We love family, love our food, our let's say traditions. So I think Malta is very similar to Lebanon, these aspects.
You keep that Mediterranean tradition, like us, like the Lebanese people.
Exactly.
Yes. Your language is very well understood here, but it has influences from Italian and English. Am I right?
As I was saying before, yes, we had influence from the Phoenicians. But Malta was also under the Romans. It was also under the Arabs that came from Sicily.
You have
And
some
throughout the
Arabic,
years-
some Arabic word between your language.
Yes. I think it's about 60%, like 60%.
60. Oh, you
Yeah.
speak Arabic very well.
Exactly. The numbers
60%
are still the same from the Arab time.
Yes.
But obviously, throughout the years, we were influenced by the southern Italian dialects.
And now the English, it's the international language.
Exactly. We have a lot of vocabulary coming from English, especially on technology, on the
Yes.
new industries that we have. So we do not have the Semitic word for certain technical words and expressions. So that is why English nowadays is part of the mix of our language.
That's interesting. Now, let's move on the culture aspect. How do you think that Malta and Lebanon could collaborate on this level?
We have already started to collaborate from a cultural point of view. In fact, I had meetings with the Minister of Culture,
Like
Judge
culture, when you
Ahmed
said
Murtada.
yes,
Exactly.
but when you said culture, you mean paint, you mean opera, you mean music.
Yeah, all these aspects of culture are being currently explored to see if we could organize cultural events, so it will not be just one event, but a series of events by inviting Lebanese artists to Malta. These artists will visit Lebanon, will show their art, their music, the talent, you name it. There are film production, photography. I think all this is part of the culture show how close that people are together. But it's also not just about art, music. The Maltese and Lebanese people are very much culturally close to each other. Like, for example, the enthusiasm they have in terms of their traditions is also part of the culture. And also the fact that between the two sides, there could be further cooperation. And this is something we are working upon.
Yes.
In the coming months, we will be launching perhaps a kind of memorandum between the countries, which would allow for the respective parties to help each other in culturally, not just between two, but also internationally. So with Malta and Lebanon partners.
Would
even
you, for example, organize a trip for the Lebanese journalists to show them the best places and
yes,
for tourism
definitely.
in Malta? Yes, how
Definitely.
could tourism be explored further towards Malta and to Lebanon and vice versa?
Now, culture and tourism in Malta and in Lebanon are being considered together. because tourism, by getting tourists to Malta and also to Lebanon, we are trying to show them the culture of both countries. So tourism and culture are very much tied to each other. Both countries have a lot of attractions. At the moment, I feel that there is little knowledge about the cultural and the touristic attractions that Malta and Lebanon can offer. At least from my visits in Lebanon, I went to many places in Lebanon, and I could see the opportunity there is to get tourists to explore this beautiful land that we have. I'm always welcome in Lebanon, and I wish that other tourists would also come over to develop and to showcase the beauty of this country. Obviously, at the moment, since there are no direct flights between the countries, it's a bit more complicated. You have to fly via Greece or via Turkey or maybe Italy. So what we're trying to do is to have direct links between Malta and Lebanon, as we used to have in the past, by the way. We used to have direct flights between
We
Malta
used
and
to have
Beirut.
direct flight from Malta to Beirut?
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Until about maybe 15 years ago. So we believe that there is an opportunity to have these flights once again. It's not easy because I understand airlines would need to do the studies, and there has to be a market for the flights
Yes.
to be there. But on the other hand, without the flights, there is no market. So it's like a circle. That's
Sure.
why it has to be a strategic direction given by the risk.
We count on you, Excellency,
I am doing my
to
best
make this
to boost
strategy and to encourage
tourism
your
and also-
people to come visiting Lebanon. In which
also to
other
have-
areas do you think that cooperation is possible?
Yes, it's not just tourism and culture. These are perhaps the first steps which we could collaborate, because usually, even in diplomacy, you start by having cultural links between the two countries to know each other.
Sure.
And then the second step would be the industrial, the commercial side, export, imports.
Yes.
These are all projects that we could, and the areas
You
that we
can
could
export
work
olive oil, for example, wine. You have a good wine, no?
good wine, just like in Lebanon as well, so we could exchange this
Yes.
good practice we have. Yeah, food and beverage is one of them. It's one of the sectors that I see a lot of cooperation, because Lebanon is known for its cuisine, for its hospitality, its hotels, the way it hosts people and tourists, training that you get. This is an area where, in Malta, being a touristic island, we cooperate a lot, but not just about hotels and restaurants. I believe we are both maritime countries, a long history of maritime tradition. Financial services, even Malta and Lebanon, both of them had a history, at least in the past years, of financial services. Other areas, like we're talking about history, but archaeology is another aspect, which I've met a number of archaeologists in Lebanon who told me that they wish to explore the possibility of having maybe experiences for archaeologists visit Malta and Lebanon, even through the universities. So it's also an educational aspect, and many other areas for exports. I mean, we're Mediterranean, just the sea that separates Malta with Lebanon, the direct sea route, and this could be explored even further. We could also be partners in a number of projects, I was saying before, apart from culture. We could also form partnerships, so there would be B2B, business to business, collaboration, two sides. It is also planned to have Malta-Lebanon Chamber of Commerce, this is something which could be developed even perhaps later this year or next year, where we have business people from both countries meet together and explore projects and explore possibilities.
How can they cooperate? Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Products, services. I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot of things.
Ambassador, how do you see the situation in Lebanon developing?
Yes. Well, actually, I would say that I have a lot of faith in the people.
Good.
All the people I meet.
You have
yes,
faith more than us?
There is hope as well. There is also a lot of hope. I mean, I see people
Hope, yes.
who are resilient. Lebanon, throughout the history, has always been a very resilient nation, despite the problems, despite all what happened. I mean, the people are still working hard to change the situation. So I think the economic problems that
it could be better in the near future, do you think?
I hope so. Well, I hope so. But it's not just the people. You know, it's a whole, it's a very complex issue, as
yes.
you know, solve the economic problems. But like other countries had, like Greece, like other countries which are close to us in the Mediterranean, I'm sure that Lebanon,
yes.
Coming years, would come up with strategies and agreements, even with international bodies, to obviously to rise above this current situation, and we will have a new Lebanon. Lebanon is, I would say, a small country with around 6 million people. So the economy is based on a few number of people, unlike the countries which have populations that are much, much bigger. So I think the situation would improve if there is goodwill from everyone going forward. Because at the moment, with the current economic problem, progress cannot really take place as much as one would like. Of course, you cannot take initiatives without having access to your deposits. Businesses would be a bit wary on whether to invest in Lebanon. So there has to be a master plan, even in terms of energy supplies, energy stability. All this would revive the economy in Lebanon. But apart from the economic aspect, I see Lebanon as a very productive country. Well, so I think this is a good basis for Lebanon to go forward and rise up to the occasion, and we'll have the glorious country that we would like to see.
Thank you for this interview. Thank you indeed for your time and presence, Dr. Bورج, and welcome in Mariam TV. Welcome.
Thank you very much, and it was also my pleasure to be with you on this program. I hope to see you also quite soon in person in Lebanon. As you know, I'm a non-resident ambassador,
yes.
So I come and go every so often. So, but it's always a pleasure to be there physically. And
we hope to meet you in Lebanon soon in Mariam TV special studio. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
هذه كانت حلقتنا مع دكتور أندريه بورج سفير مالطا في لبنان الغير مقيم. انتظرونا بحلقات وفقرات تباعا. الله معكم.